activate the recording. Welcome on our morning meetings of today. I repeat that today it's not a seminar, it's not a conference.
Hello.
I would like just ask you please to keep your microphone muted during the speech of our honorary guest speaker. Please unmute in case you have questions. You may intervene at any moment to ask your question if you not understand something. And I would like to start our meetings. I invite Fedor Sletov, our colleagues from the Moscow government, Moscow region government, excuse me, but okay, Moscow region is more big just than Moscow. Fedor, can you tell us about your practice of the Moscow region practice to support the entering of foreigner businessmen, let's say, to Russia?
Yes, surely. Thank you very much. Good morning, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for reuniting with us on this rainy morning in Moscow. The forecast is really terrifying. They promise us snow later today or tomorrow with +8 degrees Celsius. So rather pouring rain, but nevertheless, we're here. Thank you very much. And we are delighted to actually witness the positive trends that take place in the Russian combat against the COVID with the vaccines and arms and actual approach of the nation and the population that really follow the regulations and do their best to help the regional governments and the federal government to turn down all the barriers and get back to normality in terms of ordinary life and business, of course. So since Oleg confused Moscow with Moscow region, it gives me a reason to define what's what whatsoever. Is that Moscow region is the huge area that surrounds Moscow and forms the big region of Moscow, Moscow region and Moscow city combined, but these are two different regions. And here representing Moscow region, we will be speaking about this part of Russian Federation. The thing is that the total area of Moscow region is like Moscow 13 times, and with the biggest consumer market concentrated in this part of Russian Federation, with the population of 12 million in Moscow and 8 in Moscow region officially, non-officially 30 million in total, and 4 key airports of Russian Federation located in Moscow region. So whenever you traveled to Moscow, you inevitably landed in Moscow region first. All the main roads, railways, and like the big chunks of infrastructure going to the outer rims of Russia and other border countries throughout the long borders we've got, inevitably led us to the situation where the amount of cases, the COVID cases, was considerably higher than in other regions of Russia or some other European countries, just because of that flow of passengers going through Moscow and Moscow region on business purposes, on recreational, educational, tourist, any other. Well, we were just in that situation we were previously fond of, because it's the easiest way to come to Moscow region because of this infrastructure. But this same infrastructure drove us into the situation when we were just facing the grave reality that we have to comply with. And that raised the question of what we can do for the foreign business since the border got closed in March 2020, and the special regime of transborder traveling was put into action. It has been since the beginning of putting that law into effect, and it is still now prohibited for the regular workforce to enter Russia. But the situation is very different in terms of technical specialists and the highly qualified specialists, which are allowed to come and have been allowed to come since the very beginning. It only requires the concrete company that already resides in Russia to address the government of the region it resides in, to just assist in the communication with the federal ministries, to literally open the border for those specialists, because like it's still closed, but it's getting opened if we comply with the rules. The government, the federal government, has been supporting business, local business, foreign business that resides locally since the very beginning. And we've got really keen on letting those folks through. And we already have successfully completed more than 100 requests featuring more than 400 foreign specialists that have arrived, possibly have left for passport purposes or any other, or just have already completed what they were here for. But still they came through this so-called closed border. And quite recently, there are those meetings on the highest level with the Deputy Prime Minister of Russian Federation, Erzhena Kharmaeva, that's head of the Union of the Federal Ministers that work on the border mobility. They reunite on a regular basis, once in a month time or twice in a month time, to discuss the most recent trends and whether or not certain softer measures should be applied, or the approach should be changed this or that way according to the amount of cases in certain regions and in the country as a whole. And in the recent months, we, being the attendees of those events regularly on the part of the Moscow region government, were raising the question of the companies that are not yet residents of Russian Federation, do not have a LLC here, and still want to do certain business, want to come to hold talks, want to inspect the land plot, want to get an idea of what's in store here, to make up their mind in investing, having a joint partnership, or not investing, depends, but still being in a certain necessity of meeting people in person, not just Zooming or exchanging WhatsApps, but having a real chat. So several cases of the investment projects that were already sort of formulated and worked on made us eligible to request certain exceptions to be made on the part of the federal government, and those investors, those companies, were let in despite the fact that they were not complying with any regulation. They were just a foreign resident, a foreign businessman, representative of a foreign company that wanted to do business here, had a concrete idea and a project, and were in talks with us before it all started. And in order to push it forward and get progress with their plan in Russia, they were let in. We can't say much on the subject of letting in people, businessmen, our colleagues, partners that have got no certain idea of what they want to do here, just for talks. Because first and foremost, the purpose of the border closure was to protect the life and well-being of the citizens. So if we are not sure that this visit is somehow positively contributing to their well-being, as all the investments do at the end of the day, right? We cannot talk about the exceptions here. Although nobody can prevent us from holding talks via Zoom or WhatsApp and monitor the situation, and then take our chances when the situation allows. At the same time, there is a certain list of the countries that we have already opened the border with, which can freely cross the border regardless of the fact they are businessmen, just travelers, come on educational, health purposes, any of those. And it was quite a surprise for many, but from April 1st, we've opened the border with Germany. And COVID-19, respectfully speaking, their situation nowadays is not very best. If we come back to August 2020, when, by the way, the first Russian vaccine was registered, we requested the easing of border controls with the European Union, and Euro Commission said no, because Russia was like 6,000 daily, and Moscow was 1,000, Moscow region some 600 daily, and they said no, it's too much. Now you see what's happening in France or Italy or Germany, Eastern Europe, Poland, Latvia, Lithuania. So they're all suffering with that. And luckily, on the latest Euro Commission briefings, we heard that the countries are going to decide for themselves, not searching and to, the possibility to reach the general consensus, but actively promoting their own interests and acting in accordance with what is good for them personally. And well, no doubt Germany is one of the most represented foreign countries in terms of investment in Russia and in Moscow region. It's among the top investors here, and we were keeping in touch with them, because the amount of requests from Germany and German companies on the part of the business traffic was just immense, and we were really hoping to be capable of changing it, and we're not expecting it to change so fast, but it did. So we are keeping our eye with those regular meetings with the Deputy Prime Minister on the countries, the European countries, and the situation there, and raise the question of easing the border control regulations immediately after our federal colleagues see it possible. And complement Belgium, actually, if we divide the foreign countries in terms of investment volume, Belgium holds number 5 in the top. And believe it or not, the number 1 is the United States of America. Getting back to the most recent trends here in Moscow region and our Moscow region agglomeration, more and more rumors are surrounding us concerning the new approach on foreign business delegations coming to Moscow region. At some point, it can be connected to the grand federal scale international events coming our way, the St. Petersburg Economic Forum in the beginning of June, and the Inner-Prom in July, featuring the most advanced tech stuff in terms of industry as a whole. And we are eligible to, or from now on, we're eligible to actually request on behalf of certain foreign companies a sort of separated from the general regulations and exclusive personal approach to get an idea why and what for the company is coming, and then decide whether or not it can be eligible to enter. That's the most recent trend. And concerning the vaccination situation, we haven't read much about the Benelux situation and the Belgium specifically. Only those figures that can be found on the internet. Maybe Alec or our colleagues from Belgium can comment on that in a more sophisticated fashion. But we really see a big progress in the general way of nations thinking about the vaccine, because as any human being facing something new, everybody gets certainly skeptical. But with the time passing and with a certain clinical research being carried out, it lowers, and we actually understand now that we cannot guarantee any certain term for this world to get back to normal. That's why maybe we need to take our steps, some steps ourselves, just to assure this or that level of possible communication, cooperation, mobility for a greater good and for the general convenience, because it's our way to take care not only about ourselves, but also about our family members, colleagues and partners at work, colleagues and partners that are hopefully coming to Moscow region, Russia in the short term to discuss our possible common projects in person and get some real tact on that. So one most recent amendment to the border regulation that I wanted to stress on is that, well, maybe those gentlemen or ladies that are somehow connected to Russia, some regions of Russia in terms of established company here, is that if we talk about the highly qualified specialists, there was a rule of 14-day quarantine for everybody earlier, for the technical staff and for the highly qualified specialists. From now on, technical staff follows the previous version of the rules, staying for 14 days in quarantine, then getting to work, unless they're coming for 3 days. If it's only 3 days, they get the PCR test coming, the negative, then the antibodies, then PCR again. And if all those are negative, then in the time frame of those 3 days, technical specialists can operate, can set the machines and then leave. Or if we talk about the highly qualified specialists, regardless of the term they're coming for here in Russia, they can perform the same procedure. They come with the negative, get the antibodies and another PCR in 3 days' time, and they are free to work with no 14 days quarantine at all. So that's some of the most recent ones. And we are constantly working on our new suggestions to the federal government to make it easier, because we see the positive trend in Russia and in Europe concerning the cases. Well, in some European countries not, and we really have got no idea how they've reached that point of all this happening with such a better trend than Russia, frankly speaking, but now a bit different. So we really hope that with our joint, genuine approach and effort, we drive the situation to some convenient regulation stance and to the normal basis. Well, what's normal for now, right? But something more relevant to our needs, our beliefs, and our aspirations of this world, each other, business sphere, and actually the transborder mobility, right? We all want to go to vacation somewhere else, right? Somewhere, please let us out. But we have to do something on our part. So follow the regulations, believe in the best, continue communication via Zoom, and monitor the most recent trends in terms of borders going down. We'll work on that. Hopefully it brings us fruitful results in the short term.
Thank you, Fedor. But I would like to mention that high qualified specialist means person with a work permit in Russia. It's not means that because when you compare technical specialist and high qualified specialist, the technical specialist can come from abroad without needs to get official salary in Russia. For high qualified specialist, there is the procedure to obtain it. Secondly, I would like just note, for example, we have with us today Thierry Pet. He is a shareholder of the Belgian company established in Moscow region. And for already 1 year, Thierry would like to come to get a more control on the activity and to develop the company. It's a small company. It's not a large investor with 50, 100 million euros. We cannot make a request for this kind of business, unfortunately, to the Deputy Prime Minister Tatiana Golikova. She is happily for us also the co-chairman of the mixed commission Belgian-Luxembourg Russia. That's why our chamber have let's say some privilege access to her. But in the same time, Thierry, you are here with us, and maybe further you can help Thierry. After I can put Thierry with you in connection, and you will try maybe to obtain some way he's entering, because I think Thierry, you prepare some not big but investment around 100,000 euro, as I understand it. Yeah.
Yes. In fact, as you told, I cannot go to Russia for 1 year. I want to develop my business, of course, now, and I need to open some shops. I wanted to open my first shop in Moscow in January, but I cannot go. Then it's not possible. Now, in my plan, it's to open a first one in September. But of course, I need to go to develop, to see the different place. For me, honestly, I have 100% of it's my company, and I need to invest money, but I need to see the different place, to discuss with my team. Of course, we discuss by Zoom, and but every time like this, it's impossible for me. Then I report always my investment, and I'm waiting, and so it's a bit difficult for me now.
And the production is in Dubna, in the Moscow region. Also, for example, as it's happened today, we meet yesterday one person working for a big Chinese project in Russia. And for example, Chinese business, but Chinese shareholder and the Russian management board, they meet now in Belarus, in Minsk, because they allow it to come to Belarus. And I think it's also something very strange, because there is no official border between Belgium and between Belarus and Russia, and the situation is really not, how to say, clear. Erzhena, I don't forget you. I know that you are with us. Erzhena,
would you mind me commenting on Thierry's case just now, for everybody to get a bit less confused, because I see, my bad, we've been doing it for a year already, with the foreign specialists coming, and some terms, you know, we just don't pronounce them, even because we're so not tired, but maybe overwhelmed on just saying the complete phrase all the time. And between us, we use the real shortcuts. That's maybe got a part of the audience confused, including you. But the thing is, according to the regulations, what I was talking about in terms of the specialists coming, the foreign specialists are divided into two categories. One category is the technical stuff, which are obviously very highly qualified, since they've got no replacement in this country or in any other country, because they're bound to the contract on the machines maintenance, and they come to set the machines according to the company's standards and strategy. So they're invited from another country, and the special permits are prepared for them to enter. Another category is the so-called highly qualified specialists, which are divided in a separate category because they are devoted to different occupations. They are most likely and most certainly part of the company's board in Russia. So they are managing the company in this or that way. They may be a part of financial management team, or the operational or strategic or technical, even not actually touching the machine, but making sure the processes work in the technical sense of the word. And occupying that high position in the company's structure here in Russia, they have the work permit, and that's their actual official paper to enter the country in this border closed stance. The technical specialists coming to set the machine do not have to receive any work permit. They have the contract to serve the machine maintenance, and that's the only point they have to give in, the only paper they have to give in, the only point they have to be actually oriented at to enter. They have the contract, they follow the contract and come to set the machine. That's the technical stuff. The highly qualified comes to manage the company operating and is part of the official company stuff here, while the shareholder is not part of the stuff. Investing money does not mean getting any paper connections with the country in terms of the registration here, because the work permit is sort of a registration in Russia, right? It's not a citizenship, it's not any other kind of residence, but it's still sort of a permission to be here for a work purpose, while contract is a purpose for the technical specialists. There is no actual purpose for the shareholder that is set in the law about the border closure. And as I mentioned, since it has been made for the well-being and healthcare preservance of the citizens, they formulated maybe not too accurately, but they thought the most critical positions for the companies to operate would be the management and the technical stuff. Well, the shareholder can invest money without crossing the border. That was their logic. It's not very accurate in every sense, but we have to agree in most of the senses it's accurate. You can be a shareholder and reside in Bali or Cuba or Seychelles, anywhere, and your company will still go on and be operating if the management stuff is fine, unless you have to pay them a visit and remind them of yourself being a shareholder and they need to work better because you're still there watching them. Well, joking aside, that's the thought behind the law. They thought that the most critical positions are the technical staff, with the technical side of the companies operating, and the organizational, managing, administrative stuff. Actually, two components combined make the company work. And if we talk about the critical international world pandemic, maybe that's the solution. It's getting less relevant now with the COVID cases going down, the amount of COVID cases going down. And we keep raising that question on the conference calls with the Deputy Prime Minister. And she understands our approach. She sees the possibility to amend the law in this respect, and already commented several times on foreign investors. We can equal foreign investors not residing in Russia with the shareholders not residing either, right? Still both categories not eligible to come to Russia, but we work on that jointly, and hopefully soon it comes to real life. At the same time, I mentioned that on certain companies we're already allowed to make a separate request just to see the purpose of the visit and decide separately with this, each and every company that has investment plans. So we'll catch up with Thierry after the conference and see what we can do on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fedor. Finally, Erzhena, the actual head of Juralink. It's a Russian-Dutch company located in Moscow for 20 years, I think, already.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Fedor, thank you very much for your input and interesting speech. It was very useful for us, I think, for everybody, because it's very always nice to hear something from the, not from the business, but from the government. I think that I will comment. I will not I will comment just on what Fedor said from the practice point of view, because we have also highly qualified specialists. Is indeed they can come to Russia. They need this FSB list to be on the FSB list, and it is quite more or less clear what to do with them. However, we also have here some problems because the timing. Previously, we can do it within 1 month or 15 days to get the working permit and work visa. People can easily come and start the process. Nowadays, the term, of course, the term is longer. It can take few months, even a few months. And it depends on the ministries, first of all, because some of them working quickly, some of them not. They do not have a term set for the request processing, so we have to wait. Moreover, the second problem is that the information from the ministry come to MVD, Ministry of Internal Affairs, later than to FSB. So if the person is already in the border list, MVD still cannot see the person. So we cannot submit the documents to get such a working permit. So this is practical problems. Also, then I think important thing to say that now the highly qualified specialists and the family members can travel multiple times. Previously, it was like they can come only for a single entrance, and they can ask for repeated requests to the ministry, to a profile ministry, to get the to be on the list. And now, starting from February 6th, people can travel multiple times with their families. And but we have a letter, again, this very confusing every time, because we have a letter from the Ministry of Justice that they confirm that yes, it is true, multiple entrances possible with no letters to the profile ministry. But again, it is advisable to file a repeat request to the profile ministry. So you see, nothing is concrete, but how practice shows that it is possible for highly qualified specialists travel back and forth, and no need to provide letters to the ministry again and again. Then I will comment on the installation visa. It was changed recently. It was transformed from the business visa to a work visa. And we have a lot of talks with the MVD because of this, since previously you can ask for 1 year visa, technical visa, with the multiple entrances. And now it is possible to ask only single entry visa for 90 days. That's it. And you have to provide a lot of documents additionally, like it's not only, well, it's a supply contract, of course, of the foreign equipment, or the service contract on installation of such foreign equipment. You also have to provide to the ministry additionally confirmation of employment of such specialists in the company of the supplier. So sometimes foreign companies, they do not have a normal employment contract, because these specialists, they are working like individuals, like individual entrepreneurs, and they work under the special order or something, or just invoice. And sometimes it's very difficult to prove that this guy really works for this company supplier. They are asking for employment contract like our standard Russian documents. So this is the problem we also face. There are quite a lot of paperwork with this, and we don't know if it's worth it, because if you invite the specialist for installation only for 3 days, and then you ask for this visa for 90 days, he comes only for three days, and then you have to go again with all this procedure, very long, by the way. So this is how we work on practice with these exceptions. Well, about the ministries, we all used to work with them very good. I think some of them are cooperating very good. We really like to work with the Ministry of Industry and Trade, Ministry of Justice, and like Ministry of Energy, because they really cooperate good. They send you feedbacks, letters that your request was duly processed and everything is fine. With some, we have to always call to write them and to ask for an update. Well, but it depends. I think that we, Fedor, you told that we have this list with exceptions, and we mentioned that close relatives, yes, and medical issues, people for HQS working, HQS and specialists, technical specialists. But I think that there is one gap still. It's a visa-free countries like Ukraine. These people actually cannot, they can come only if they have close relatives again, or HQS working permit. But the thing is here that these people usually work in Russia not under the highly qualified specialist working permit, but under patent. And to prolong such patent, you have to come to Russia in person and submit the documents to the migration authorities. So there is no way for them to come to Russia now. And the solution of our client was just to get a HQS working permit and come to Russia and to proceed further with the employment. Well, and I think also one case from our practice, one guy from a European country, he went to Turkey in purpose and get a resident permit in Turkey. And then he made a simple business visa to Russia, and luckily he's here. It was a long trip to Russia, but he succeeded. Well, yes, also interesting story of this guy. But regarding this, but I always also hear some rumors that it is still somehow possible to come to Russia, and it doesn't, and it's not connected to this list with exceptions. It's a big question for us, for business, because I have always a lot of calls, emails asking, I know some guy, he has a simple business invitation letter. Please tell me, I also want to get it, and how can I get it? Legally, it's not possible what this list provides for. So this is a big question for me also, and for our clients as well. So we think that it will be clear soon. We are trying to find out, we're digging this story. We are trying to find how we can get to this, how these people can get these invitation letters, or how they can come to Russia on other purposes than HQS or technical. Well, we are hoping that, we're still hoping that the borders will be open soon, because we're all missing traveling. And of course, we also hope that at least some more European countries will be on the list of the countries with open air service. That's it.
Yeah, but thank you. But it's true that first of all, thank you very much, Erzhena. It's true that we heard from our colleagues from Roscongress Foundation, the organizer of St. Petersburg Economic Forum, that probably for June, and this is a good news, the electronic visa will be already working on place. But secondly, about the stories about Turkey, where your clients was domiciliated. It's very interesting because now, for example, German citizen and people living and German resident are allowed to come into Russia. It means that like Thierry, he can choose, he can rent apartment somewhere in Germany, and as a European citizen, he can be declared immediately on this address. He will be then allowed to obtain the Russian visa. That's also the question which we not really understand now. Stefan says me that there is a few questions about Moscow region and to Moscow region.
No, I had some questions for Fedor. Thanks. It was very interesting. No, and the good thing when borders are closed, then you discover your own country for holidays. And I think in Russia there is a lot to discover. So people can go on holiday. No, I had two small questions when you explained in the beginning how you can obtain to enter an approval to enter Russia. But I have one question. This is in the case you have already a visa. When you don't have a visa and you need to request for a visa, it's the same procedure. And that's my first question. And the second question, you also explained when you're entering as a high qualified specialist, you can follow this procedure that after 3 days, you do a second test, and if it's negative, you can work. And when you are vaccinated, it's the same procedure, or you don't need to get tested anymore? Is it the same or not when you are vaccinated? These are two questions from my side.
Thank you very much, Stefan. First of all, please let me get the right interpretation of the first one, which was how to get the enter permit if you don't have the visa, right?
Yes. And can you apply for a visa in a normal way as before?
only two categories for now. If we don't take into account the healthcare issues, educational, close relatives, all that, there are only two categories that can apply for a visa and for the entry permit, which go jointly together. It's the technical maintenance, technical specialist, or the highly qualified, which is the managing board of the company residing in Russia. And one just writes to the government of the region the company resides in with a request that I'm Stefan, I want to come. I have a company in Moscow region, for example, and my management needs me since I'm part of it, and they can do without me, I can do without them. We want to proceed further. Please let me in. And we just request a certain amount of documents our federal colleagues and counterparts needs to make that request working. And then there is a time frame of some 20 days if you have a visa and only need the entry permit, and some month and a half time if you don't have a visa. So you are first issued the invitation letter to apply for the visa, and then the entry permit comes along with that. That's for the first question. Have I answered it?
Yes, yes, you did perfectly.
All right. The second one, if the highly qualified specialist, the board member of the Russian residing company, foreign company residing in Russia, comes with a negative test, takes the antibodies test, and then another negative within 3 days, he is free to work, no 14 days quarantine. If you're already vaccinated, you have to bring the certificate in English language, can be, if you can translate it into Russian and get it juridically approved, that will be even better, but English works as well. You just come with a certificate and it works as the negative. You just have then maybe to pass the antibodies one, because you can be vaccinated, but you know, there are some vaccines that do not provide you with antibodies.
But Stefan, I think speak about Sputnik vaccination.
No,
Because
I'm the lucky one. I've Sputnik vaccinated.
Oh, Sputnik is just that. Yeah. All right. So, no, actually, you know, several colleagues of mine have commented that even the illness itself hasn't worked 100% in terms of antibodies serving all the time.
Yeah.
There were certain representatives with maybe a critical immune stance that were not, you know, reacting actively on that disease, and that's why antibodies, you know, didn't come. And as well, we can mention certain cases with no antibodies after vaccinating with not Sputnik, but other vaccines. Sputnik is 91% effectiveness, it's right. But actually vaccination is free in Russia. You only need the medical insurance. Yeah. And medical insurance is actually served to all the highly qualified specialists, because there is the only point to match is the work permit, and all the highly qualified specialists have the work permit in Russia. So then you have the insurance, then you have the right to vaccinate. It takes 2 days. You just prescribe, and in 2-3 days time you have the appointment and you get the first jab, and then in a couple of weeks time, like 2 weeks time, you have the second one.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks.
I think also that unfortunately without PCR test negative, you can maybe not be allowed to come to the airplane. Maybe the aviation company will request you. Then anyway, you will have it, Stefan, with you.
No, then yes, like, thank you very much for this remark. The negative is actually considered a must with the airlines nowadays. So airlines won't let you on board without the negative. Then you have that negative brought along, and you have the vaccination certificate, and you take the antibodies test, and you have everything you need.
Thanks.
Thank you. Fedor, Arkady sent me some message that he would like to ask something.
Would you please let me comment on what Erzhena said, because, you know, otherwise we'll forget about it in the conference while. Erzhena, first of all, the Ukrainian specialists you commented on, were they technical specialists or highly qualified, or were they just regular workers?
They cannot be technical specialists because they're visa free. They only can have a working permit. They have a patent. The guy has a patent.
But what was the mean of their traveling?
No,
Work?
they're like regular workers.
Regular work.
Business
Yes.
is struggling with it a lot. Like a lot of
He's an employee of the
Yeah.
company.
employees, and they
Well,
have to leave and they can't come back.
Yeah, that's it. And I can only say one thing on that. It's the reality we're living in, and that's the situation we got put into by the government that prevent us to get hundreds of thousands of COVID positive daily, like in the US or other countries. So I can feel sorry for business in this respect, and we understand that it's it causes a negative impact on the business. But in terms of people's lives, and this world has lost a lot of great people, minds, some bad people, but they're all people, and they were, it's not the point for them to leave just because somebody needs to come more than others, and so we open the border. The border is closed because we protect the citizens, and we protect the citizens in one of the best fashions we see with the daily cases and with the current stunts and with the progress we've made recently. We really hope we're not getting the third wave Europe is suffering from now. And as we all know, Europe has the open borders, right? With the European Union. It doesn't work. In economic sense, it works. In pandemic sense, open border does not work. So the regular workers have to wait until the situation improves, which local workers are working on, like all the citizens are following the regulations. And maybe that's a chance for the local workforce to be the substitutes for them, at least the substitutes, or to get employed, because we know the unemployment rates in each and every country with the COVID pandemic were growing really fast, especially in the beginning. So we started with that. I finish up with this technical, highly qualified, or some special purpose. That's the reality for now. To get out of this back to normal, that's the only way. You can't open the border, let everybody in, don't face any consequence, and live happily ever after. It doesn't work. It's pandemic. And secondly, special people that make easy visas. That's interesting. A Ukrainian, since we mentioned Ukraine, I watched a video clip on YouTube yesterday. A Ukrainian journalist managed to get into Grammys and even get on the stage to get the Adele Prize for her instead of her, just because he mixed with the crowd. So people that can do something easier than others have been here and will be here always. It's not widely commented the consequences he has faced after entering the Grammy with no invitation and purpose, and actually even going for the award instead of a world recognized singer. But still, it's the fact. Like the easy visa you can apply for, like another country you can go to get well, the Alex's idea for Thierry to go to Germany to reside there for in an apartment and then apply makes way more sense than taking those easy ways to get an easy visa, because those are illegal. And as a resident of European Union, Thierry can go to Germany and then apply. And this might work because it somehow avoids the regulation, but it still is legal. So I really address everybody to follow the legal ways and work on the situation in our countries for it to get better and for us to get back to normal together.
Thank you, Fedor. But we try. We just ask questions how it's have to be done, because it's really not easy situation. More than 1 year now. The Belgium
but you have to work
cannot come normal way to Russia. It's very kind from your side that you come today to answer that kind of question, because on my practice, on 1 year, we are working with a high qualified specialist, with technical specialists. We finally, until today, my own, I do not understand, and I didn't find any, how to say, center of responsibility on this question, because it's changed. It's true, it's changed on sometimes good way, sometimes worst way, but there is very difficult to obtain a full pictures of the situation. But if Arkady, you have a question or not? You send me some message to. Your microphone is muted.
Yes, it's a particular case. It's a person received an invitation to be in Minsk, and they received the authorization take the flight and the entry in Minsk. Okay, this person asked me if it's possible with a car to go after that in Russia, to be in Moscow, and how are the condition for that? It's possible or not?
Normally, normally the borders are open only for air travel. From Belarus, it's possible to travel also by train. It's also possible, but this person has to have a visa to Russia, and the person has to have a confirmation that he's legally in Belarus, like a residence permit or working permit in Belarus. Then it's possible.
If he's living in Belarus, then he can come to Russia. In case he come with a business visa to Belarus, and he, for example, get already some previously Russian visa, he cannot come to Russia. It's forbidden.
As Fedor said, maybe it's possible somehow to get into Russia, but it will not be legal.
Yeah, it will be very difficult, I think, to take a hotel, for example, because when you take a hotel, you have to get your official registration, and then it will come out that you are illegally in Russia.
You don't have any residents in Belarus, you have to then have the entry permit to Russia. Then you can go to Russia through Belarus.
Yeah.
Already having a visa, yes.
Okay, thank you, Arkady.
Fedor, can I also ask one question? It's just a matter of my concern. This December 2020 and in January 2021, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs helped us greatly. Really, they did sent us a lot of telex invitation letters for business visas, with the help of the Ministry of Agriculture, for example, with the government state bodies. They did them very well and very quick. And starting from February, it's not possible anymore, unfortunately. Can you maybe tell something about it? Do you know about it, something?
Erzhena, the thing is that Ministry of International Affairs was always mainly focused on the not business delegations coming, because business is more devoted to Ministry of Economic Development, Ministry of Industry and Trade, Ministry of Energy, of Transport, Agriculture, any other ministries that also feature the industrial sector of their own, and or sectors if we take the Ministry of Industry and Trade. And was just a sort of a regulatory body that was part of the whole mechanism. Because if we talk about the invitation to get a visa, it has to be issued by some consular authorities, right? It's the consular department of the Ministry of International Affairs. And that's the only point where ministry actually stepped in previously. There was some separate, several separate cases when certain actions were taken on purpose, just exclusively on request of a chamber of commerce or some federal authority, and they were worked on just separately, not following the main rule. because the main rule is you see the sector you're working in, you find the ministry that actually takes care of this sector, you address the ministry, and ministry then gets the whole chain working with the FSB, with the Ministry of Internal Affairs and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, everybody getting their bit of work in place. From February, they just got a more strict approach on that and isolated the ministry from the business completely. Because previously we were holding a video conference with the heads of departments of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and they commented several times that they had got nothing to do with foreign business coming. You see the sector, you address the relevant ministry. It wasn't their business from the beginning. It was only a matter of exceptional cases on an exclusive purpose.
Okay, thank you. Philippe needs to have a question, I think.
It's not. Good morning, everyone. It's not really a question. I think that in everything that what I heard, the only effective solution for Thierry in the immediate situation would be to apply for a visa to come to the SPIF in St. Petersburg, because I think that that would be easy for him to come to Russia. And then the only question is, can he then, with this electronic visa, as far as I understand, that will be put in place for the SPIF in St. Petersburg in June, is it then possible
2nd June.
Yes, is it then possible for him to go from St. Petersburg to Moscow? Is he free to travel inside Russia with it? Or can he stay only in St. Petersburg? Because that could be a solution for him. Thank you.
As soon as he enters Russia, he is free to travel anywhere. It's only a question of entering Russia. You have to have the permit and the visa. There are no borders inside Russia. It's like the European Union, you know.
Fantastic. So that means that he can easily get a visa to come to the SPIF, and his solution, that would be a solution.
And visit Moscow region right after that for a cup of tea with pastilla.
Thank you very much, Philippe. You give me an idea of the next meetings. I will invite the Roscongress Foundation representative. They will explain us if they can do it that way. But we will also provide few information in next week about the St. Petersburg Economic Forum to you. Dear colleagues, there is a more question, please. Just unmute yourself. If no. Okay.
Sorry, may I ask a question? It's Vladimir.
Yes. Yeah, Vladimir, please.
I am Vladimir, HR manager from Wageningen Packaging Post Print. We are located in Moscow region, and my colleagues from our headquarters in Belgium asked me the question related maybe about only forecast. What is the procedure and when it should be to get a visa to visit our location located in Moscow region? Fedor, maybe clarify a little bit.
Would you please specify what kind of...
Yeah, now I'm talking about top management. Top management.
The shareholders.
Sure.
Well, there isn't a certain forecast because this COVID thing really brings us surprises. But the trend is that if the current pace remains, we look in a positive way. We look forward to getting certain amendments by the SPIF.
Okay.
Yeah, but we believe that it will not be only an exception for SPIF participant.
No. It's not connected to the SPIF participant. It's only about the time frame. So like April, May will be the key months for the federal authorities to decide how to what extent we can make the procedure easier and how many new categories we can add to the list of the eligible ones.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Fedor. Very good answer. Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, we are on the right time, on 1 hour. Hans Depre,
Yes, I would like to ask one question. I'm Hans de Pre from the company Depicon. We have an office in Moscow. We work in the aviation business. There is normally Heli Russia and Max Air Show will take place this year. That was already announced. What will be the conditions there to go? Because we want to reserve our stand on the exhibition, but have no clue if we will be able to travel there to be present on the exhibition. So I would like, if possible, to have some comments on that.
But I believe, Fedor, just one second, I believe that this year, I think it's AVEX, it's Wallonian site, which is responsible for MAX this year. And I believe, I know that Gerard was already in discussion with the foreign affairs of Russia about that. But Fedor, please.
Hans, if you're talking about the actual conditions to participate in MAX, this question better be asked to the organizers. If you talk about the mobility, we have to see what's going to happen with the SPIF and how to what extent the situation improves by then. And from then on, we can make a forecast, because the trend is either positive or negative. And in the 2 months time frame, you see it clearly. So we maybe come back to this discussion after May celebrations and maybe more concrete and provide you with relevant information, because for now it will be just guessing.
Thank you, Fedor. But in the same time, I would like to say one more thing, that, for example, next week in Moscow will be held the Trans-Russia exhibition, and the organizers of the exhibition obtained the business visa entering for short periods during the Trans-Russia, for especially our Belgian company participants. We just provided from our chamber the letter of support of the request, and I know that they obtained it. I have sent, I think, to you, Fedor, and to Erzhena also the copy of the invitation letter from the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Hans, I believe it will be possible from June. It's time to open the border, I believe. Dear colleagues, I would like to close our meeting, but I will not close the Zoom if someone have questions or someone have to leave. Everyone is free to continue for maybe 15 more minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.